Okay, so it's 12:25 on March the 6th, 2026, and people are starting to go inside to see the presentation of the tree campaign. We've got someone's just shown up in incognito. One of the many characters of the tree campaign. Squirrels, geckos. I forgot the rest of them. Yeah, it's a couple of years since I did this.
Good afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me? Okay. My name is Kate Josephs. I'm the Chief Executive of Sheffield City Council, and it is my great pleasure to be here this afternoon. Thank you very much all for being here today. We're gathered to mark the unveiling of a very special plaque to commemorate the Street Tree campaign. This is not a celebration in the usual sense. It's a moment to pause, to reflect, and to acknowledge a really difficult chapter in the city's recent history. One that caused real hurt, division and a loss of trust for many people, for too many people. The Locock Review was an important moment for this council and for the city. It challenged Sheffield City Council to reflect on what had happened and on how we work with the communities we are here to serve. In the years since, we have worked hard to rebuild trust with the people of Sheffield. That work will continue, and we will never take that trust for granted. This plaque reflects a significant moment in the history of the Street Tree campaign. It recognises the enormous contribution of residents, campaigners and community partners who cared deeply about their streets, about their trees and about their city, and who were prepared to speak up, often at personal cost. And we owe a debt of thanks to them all. Yes. It also serves as a reminder of how important it is that public institutions work hard to listen carefully to the communities they serve. We also need to thank the independent Task and Finish group, many of whom are here today, who worked together to agree the design and wording of the plaque. They have given many hours of their time, and we are really, really grateful for their commitment and generosity that they've shown in helping bring this to completion. So to help us mark this moment, I'm really grateful to welcome two people whose work has helped to ensure that the wider story of trees, place and people continues to be heard and understood. In a moment, I'll hand over to James Mitchison, who is the editor of the Yorkshire Post. Under James's leadership, the paper has given space to difficult conversations, to scrutiny and to community voices across Yorkshire. James will say a few words about why this story matters, not just for Sheffield, but far beyond. And then I'll also be handing over, and I'm very pleased to welcome Rob McBride, known to many of you as a tree hunter and an ambassador for the Tree of the Year Awards. Rob has spent years celebrating trees, not simply as a feature of our landscape, but as living witnesses to our shared history, identity and values. Together they'll help us reflect on why this plaque matters, as an act of recognition, a gesture of respect and commitment to learning from the past so that we do better in the future. The writer Hal Borland said, "If you would know strength and patience, welcome the company of trees." I think it's fair to say that our city is a better place today and for the future, as a result of the incredible number and variety of trees that we share our home with, and as a result of the strength and the patience of so many citizens of Sheffield that we acknowledge here today and in perpetuity through this plaque. James, may I invite you to say a few words?
Thank you, Kate. First of all, I want to thank you for inviting me to give this address today. When the invitation arrived in my inbox, I wrote back. I think you've written to the wrong James, I'm afraid, I said. There are a great many people more suitable than I who've sacrificed far more and toiled far harder than I have in this skirmish. There was surely better place to speak, I said. Alas, I was told it was not a mistake. So, before I begin, I want to thank you for putting me up here. It's an honour and it's a privilege, and I want to dedicate what I say next to the incredible people who put their lives on hold, their liberty at risk, and their sanity through a years-long mangle of corruption that without your courage would have prevailed. Honestly, thank you. And yet, I would rather not be here. I would rather you all weren't here either. At least, not for the reasons we're gathered. But here we are. 14 years after the people inside this building, people charged with taking care of Sheffield, struck a £2 billion deal with a contractor, the deeply flawed terms of which led to one of the city's darkest hours, putting a forest of 17,500 majestic and mature street trees in the vexed crosshairs of the chainsaws, wielded by people who simply didn't care. Fortunately though, there were people living in this city who did and do still care. 9th of February 2017, my secretary Jane took a call. She transcribed the conversation and emailed it to me, adding, the lady was really articulate and intelligent, but I could tell she was really upset. She seemed genuine. That caller had said this, I wish to remain anonymous. I'm scared. But I saw a tweet from James about the tree felling in Sheffield, and I want him to know how worried we all are about it. There is little to no media coverage of what's happening, and as a result, the full extent of the conduct of Sheffield Council and its deceit is going unchallenged. With hindsight, that was more than a fair criticism. We simply weren't doing enough. I would turn on the radio and hear false equivalents being wheeled out, masquerading as journalism. Each side was being given a fair chance to have their say, but only one side was acting in good faith. I didn't know that then. It's perhaps easy and obvious now to say that of course the campaigners were right, and of course the council was wrong. But at the time, the prevailing narrative was different. An expensive smear campaign was at full tilt. Hundreds of thousands of pounds were being spent on trying to buy a new truth. Councillors and officials, many of whom have sauntered off into the shadows, long gone. People who, by the way, must be held accountable if we are to stand any chance at all. Of bringing full and proper closure to this matter. They were portraying campaigners as tree-hugging crackpots with nothing better to do than meddle in their expensive public realm improvement project, one that we were repeatedly told was for the good of the city. Lies, damn lies and statistics were being shown to me and to others to illustrate that these people, you people, were nothing but ill-informed busybodies. I kept going back to that call that Jane received. She was articulate. She was intelligent. She was upset. She was genuine, James, I know it. I knew I needed to listen more carefully, observe more diligently, and so I got to know a few of you. As I did look more carefully and listened more intently, I saw men and women investing hours and hours of their own time, days, weeks, months, and in the end, years in pursuit of truth. Detectives and journalists in your own right, working with and alongside my irreplaceable colleague, Chris Byrne, you formed a formidable team. You formed a formidable team. A battalion is perhaps a better description, because you went to war with Goliath, and in the end, David won. But you were up against it. Boy, were you up against it. The full might of the establishment. Bouncers recruited to manhandle you off the streets, police deployed as tactical reinforcement, cars towed in the dead of night to make way for trees to fall. I will not repeat what I shouted when word reached me that 2 women in their 70s, Jenny and Frida, had been arrested. Nick Clegg was right. It was like something out of Putin's Russia. And since he said that, we've all been reminded of that which Putin's Russia is capable of. The then Environment Secretary, Michael Gove, who, having come to Sheffield to see for himself what was going on, described it as draconian and bonkers. It was. 41 people were arrested, 1 for tooting on a child's toy horn. Bonkers doesn't get close when you think about it. And yet, you did not relent. You did not give up. Bullied, intimidated, harassed, belittled and besmirched by people who were later described as deluded. Even when you were accused of spiking tea with poison. That one made the international headlines, by the way. New York Times, no less. As well as booby-trapping trees and many, many other reputationally harmful conspiracies, you kept going, and you went on to win one of the most hard-fought and successful environmental campaigns ever waged. In the end, it was not your reputations that were left in tatters, but those of this council and the city itself. To the credit of Kate Josephs and Tom Hunt at the time, they saw that too. And to the surprise of us all, accustomed to obfuscations, lies, hubris and denials, they apologised so sincerely and so profusely that it could not be interpreted as disingenuous. It was 4 pages of what I thought, to the credit of the new leadership, was sincere remorse and regret. Too late? Yes. Too little? No. To dwell in the mire of discord in perpetuity is not healthy. Without those words, I suspect we wouldn't be here today marking this occasion. They've helped the city to begin the process of healing the rift between the people and the city's leaders. One of those people I called yesterday. A familiar voice answered. "Hello, James. I still have your number saved, even after all these years," said the friendly voice, and I smiled. Years in which protest proved justified. Direct action, the route of last resort, was proven just. Tree-hugging crackpots, it turned out, were the good guys all along. I am proud to call you my friends, and I'm proud to call myself a tree-hugging crackpot. But seriously, what you achieved is nothing short of remarkable. You turned around a tanker of insincerity adrift in your city and saved 11,000 trees that were in its path, destined for inevitable destruction. The plaque placed today will forever remind us of what happens when democratic power is abused. It should also be a starter of infinite conversations about the heroes who saved Sheffield's trees. You've left an indelible mark of righteousness on Sheffield. Your honesty and your integrity are now hallmarks branded into the metal of the steel city forever. You are the best of it. Thank you.
Thanks so much, James. I'm now going to invite Rob McBride to share a few words, and then with the Right Worshipful Lord Mayor of Sheffield, our Councillor Safia Saeed, we are going to unveil the plaque. Rob.
Wow, 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 wow. Just said to James, I wish I'd have gone before him because he's made me quite emotional now. Thank you, Kate. Lovely introduction. Like James, when I was asked to perform this amazing feat, I felt totally honoured and humbled. And looking through my photographs and video and audio, I thought I'd better put some notes together to speak about today. So anyway, we might be here till 3 o'clock at this rate. So thank you, Helen, for the loan of the book. In all seriousness, though, yeah, thank you for inviting me over the Snake Pass from Shropshire, which I came over many times over a period of about 2.5, maybe 3 years, in those dark days of what was going on in Sheffield. Normally I don't read, but I thought I've got to make some notes today to try and, because there are so many points you want to get across, but I'm not going to cover everything, obviously. So, yeah, again, thank you for the people of Sheffield, for the common people of Sheffield, for inviting me here today. And I think we know who the reference is to there. Our friend Jarvis and his great band, who became judges in the contest I set up called The Great Trees of Sheffield eventually, with Chris Packham and Patrick Barkham. James has covered a lot that I'm not going to cover, thankfully. So, as we know, 6,000 street trees were felled, 12,000 were saved by you fantastic people. Just listening before, you may have heard a load of children going past there, and James's speech was making us all quite emotional. I'm just thinking, you did it, because I'm going to get emotional. You did it for those kids out there. You did it for them. Going on to football, you like my team, Preston North End, you've got 2 teams in the second tier of the football league, if you like. But you people are in the Premier League of tree campaigners across the world. And I hope Sheffield Wednesday comes straight back up. Initially, somebody has to mention SORT and the campaign, the early days, maybe even before I turned up in November 2015, but it's nice to mention SORT. I was going to mention individual people, and then I'm looking here and I go, I can't, but I cannot not mention Dave Long and Dave Dillner, because I spent so much time with Dave. Dave Long provided and still provides crucial arboricultural advice, and you know, you people know what he's done in his own unique way. Yeah, so the arb world was sort of deaf for quite a while to what was going on. I was certainly cast out into the wilderness for a period of time by the professional tree world, and that took its toll. And today I'm minded to think of, I'm looking at somebody there who's filming, and I'm looking at a lady who I know very well, and another lady. And in fact, I've just had a chat with Heather, and I'm minded to think of the Brimon Oak in Wales, where we campaigned, me and the farmer, Mervyn Lloyd-Jones, and we persuaded the Welsh Government to move a motorway. But when I did an interview for Channel 5 with Ardal O'Hanlon off Father Ted, and they interviewed me, and they got really deep into what did it do to people. And I was looking at Mervyn, and it's the only time I've broken down really in an interview. But when I look at you people and listen to Heather's story of what it did to her health, what it did to Dave's health, what it did to my health as well, but more, you people who are involved in it day after day here, it beggars belief that this occurred, and James put it very eloquently why it did occur. So, let's have a look. So we've got another tree that brings this. Sheffield brought street trees, urban forest, the urban canopy to the world essentially in the end, and policy has changed, and Sheffield is now forging ahead with the street tree partnership, etc. But there's another tree just maybe 100 miles away, the Sycamore Gap tree, is another example of why we have to be vigilant. The senseless felling, you know, it was done for a different reason, but the senseless felling of an iconic tree, and I don't use that word lightly, iconic, by those chaps was just ridiculous. It's beyond comprehension. But there are other trees like the Toby Carvery oak in London that's been essentially for Spurs' football ground, training ground to be. It's along those lines that it was done. Senseless. The Lyddham oak in Shropshire is one of the biggest oak trees on the planet, 42 feet, 13 metres around. It would fill this door across. A year ago, it was, in the words of an arboricultural consultant, butchered. It's a private tree. It's got no protection whatsoever. We don't protect our trees. The laws are not adequate, and this is what we've been fighting for years. Cavat, yeah, well, as Deepa says, I managed to bring in Jeremy Barrell initially, and then Deepa and I got Chris Nealon in, who invented Cavat, and Ian Dalton did a fantastic survey using Cavat, the tree valuation system. And the Woodland Trust have carried on that ethos, if you like, with the Tree Equity Programme now, which again is worldwide, and it's showing we know that the poorest areas of Sheffield have the least canopy cover, and this is being addressed with the council, and all credit to Kate and the people who are pushing this forward. So yeah, thank you, Deepa. And do shout out if you want anything bringing in. The two tree films as well. I'm looking at one of the filmmakers here, Jax. I've not watched the films. I started to watch the trailer and I couldn't watch it, so I haven't watched them, sadly. But anyway, some of the so I want to do the positives, really. I've mentioned a few positives. So positives have come into Sheffield. Hendo's Relish, I was introduced to that. The Sheffield Tap was another institution. Hallam University, I was here in 2007 before I got involved with this, with Ian Rotherham and his fantastic work in tree conferences there on parkland trees, etc. So Ian was a big, asset to the city. And I think when we look at this today, that this plaque effectively says the conflict mattered, the trees mattered, the people who stood up for them mattered. And it marks a rare moment where a grassroots environmental campaign is formally recognised within the civic heart of the city. So, I'd like to formally pull the cord, or whatever I've got to do. Oh right, I'll tell you that. Before I do this, I want to do something. I was hoping I would have done an art piece last night, or no, the night before I came. But I want to present Tafia with a little token. If you can read what that is. I haven't got the art piece to go with it, and I want to just take 2 seconds to present to Dave. Those are pieces of the Sycamore Gap tree. So I was asked to go and film with BBC Newcastle on the first anniversary. They cleared the site immaculately, but I went grovelling over the other side of Hadrian's Wall on the Scottish side in the grass and found some branches, so I do these prints. Anyway, it's only a tiny gesture, but it's the most unique tree in the world of craft. Okay.
Can everybody help us with the countdown? Yeah?
Yeah.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
You would have to say this is a tremendous plaque.